Hello there, welcome to my new VGC channel. My name is Sass and I'm pretty much a more casual VGC player these days, but I always loved playing very gimmicky, spicy strategies and tech, so I wanted to make a YouTube channel dedicated to some of that. I'm sure along the way I'll end up posting serious strategies and such as well, but we're going to start off this channel by picking 5 spice picks for Season 13 here in VGC 2022. So since we're here at the tail end of Sword and Shield, we can now use mythical Pokemon, but in today's video I'm only going to actually cover one of these mythical Pokemon as a spice pick. The rest are going to be very much non-restricted picks. So the first Pokemon, in no particular order on this list, we're going to be talking about Golisopod. Golisopod is a Pokemon that works really well in the current format. The cool thing about this Pokemon, its typing is very interesting in the Groudon-Kyogre meta. And by having the ability Emergency Exit, it allows this Pokemon to give you switch initiative. So you can kind of bring this in first impression, for example, maybe some type of grass type. Whenever it gets attacked, you can get switch initiative on something that you need to bring in, like a Scarf user, or maybe you want to bring in something bulky, whatever is an appropriate counter to your opponent's team. You wouldn't think a bug type would be too good in the current meta, but because Groudon and Kyogre cores are so common, this Pokemon actually pairs really well and can operate really well in those type of meta games. First impression is a bug move that you'll probably run for sure that gives it priority only on its first turn, which again, like I said, could be good for hitting maybe like a Rillaboom or a Zarude, which if you partnered this with a Kyogre, could clear up your ability to kind of like throw damage on your opponent's side. You probably, speaking of just taking a step back, because Golisopod has such a good defense stat, Assault Vest is probably the best. That's what I see most people running, and it's my personal favorite as well. You could probably, I saw a video from Neil VGC where he was talking about Golisopod, and he recommended that you could potentially run Leftovers on this Pokemon. Liquidation as a move for coverage, Sucker Punch for sure, to hit those pesky Calyrex. And we could go for another stab bug move, which honestly, in Neil VGC's video, he recommends Leech Life, and I think that's a good call too, because that will allow your bulky Golisopod to heal up a little bit. On to the next pick here. So this is going to be the only mythical Pokemon I am covering. I do feel like Mew is definitely a very spicy pick, but the set we're going to talk about is just a very straightforward Choice Scarf Transform set. I think Imprison, Trick Room, and maybe even something like Foul Play or Protect or something. I mean, Foul Play is good because we can hit Calyrex if we need to. It's just like a good attack. It's good to have an attacky move on a support Pokemon. But the idea here is we just kind of come in after a Pokemon is done demaxing your opponent's side, and maybe they buffed up, got some stat boost. We come in, we steal all the stat boost, and we outspeed it as well because of the Choice Scarf. So yeah, there's not really much to say about this, but I do feel like this is still kind of a spicy set. It kind of works similar to how Ditto would work, but yeah, I think just because you can learn Imprison and have Trick Room and Foul Play as well, it still can be versatile instead of just going in and transforming. All right, the next spicy pick we're actually going to look at here is Hitmonlee. And shout out to That's a +1. I saw he was covering a video of a submitted battle team by Viking VGC where they were actually running a Hitmonlee with Unburden and Normal Gem with Fake Out. So let me type in Normal Gem, Unburden. So what this does is once you use Fake Out, it consumes the Normal Gem, and then Unburden will double the speed of Hitmonlee. So right off the bat, you can, fake out one of your opponent's partner Pokemon, you're outspeeding, and then go for like a Bulldoze, Bullet Punch, Helping Hand moveset here. And essentially you're just kind of like a fast, you're gonna go in fast and try to get some Bulldozes off to lower your opponent's speed and such. Definitely kind of a spicy line, but I actually want to try this out myself. I watched that video and I'm convinced I need to run this now. The next Pokemon we're going to talk about is actually one of my personal favorites, and I don't think I've ever really seen anyone use this tech. I put out a couple videos on my other YouTube channel, which will be available on playlist on this channel as well if you want to check that out. But yeah, this tech is very spicy. So the idea is we're going to run weakness policy and weak armor on Amistar, and we're going to have to pair this with Calyrex Shadow. And the idea is we're going to run Choice Scarf on the Calyrex Shadow so we outspeed everything. And we're going to run Double Kick, which is a fighting move that won't do a lot. Ideally, you would like a 0 IV stat, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously, this is not something we can really control. It's okay if you have higher, even if you had 31 IVs for attack, it won't really do too much damage here to Amistar. So the idea is we're going to use Double Kick, but just to give you an idea, we would probably still fill this out with like, maybe we'd run Trick Room and, you know, maybe still like a coverage move. So the idea here is we're going to Double Kick our own Amistar at the very beginning of the fight, and we'll run Protect. We're going to run Meteor Beam because that is a stronger, rock move, Hydro Pump, and then we're also going to run probably Blizzard or Ice Beam. And the whole strategy is we're going to D-max Amistar right off the bat. Not most people really expect something like this to happen. And then we're going to Double Kick our own Amistar, which we should outspeed most of the meta with the Choice Scarf Calyrex. And what this allows to happen is we hit twice on our Amistar, which activates our weak armor ability twice. And what weak armor does is when you're hit by a physical move, your physical defense gets lowered by 1 stage, but then it raises your speed by 2 stages. So by the end of this tech, you will be at plus 4 speed, -2 defense, and because you'll be hit with a fighting move, which is super effective on Amistar. It will activate the weakness policy, which will give us a +2 special attack and +2 physical attack. And we're just gonna run a max speed, max special attack Amistar here, probably Timid, Nature, or maybe Modest. I forget which I run on mine. Maybe I do run Modest. And most people are not going to be able to predict this tech, and the coverage on Amistar is actually pretty good. A decent amount of the meta we can chunk away with this moveset. The biggest threat though to something like this tech is definitely like Rillaboom or Sarude. So yeah, you definitely have to watch out for the grass types. You can still kind of work around the Regieleki leads, but this is definitely very spicy. I ran this a lot throughout this entire cycle of VGC on Sword and Shield, and I do feel like we could still get away running something like this here in season 13. All right, so we have one more pick here that we're going to cover, and that pick is going to be Shedinja. So Shedinja, I feel like, is definitely one of those Pokemon that feels like it could be OP, but it ends up being kind of hard to pull off because this Pokemon can pretty much has an ability that is broke. This Pokemon can only be damaged by super effective moves and indirect damage. The problem with running Shedinja is max Airstream is so common, fire types are so common, ghost moves, rock moves, dark moves are all very common, and also Sandstorm and the effects from the G-Max, Vines Whip from Venusaur, the fire move from Charizard's G-Max, all that residual damage at the end of each turn can just knock out Shedinja. So this Pokemon, while in the right scenario, if your opponent doesn't have the right coverage to hit this Pokemon, this can actually be very scary for your opponent. And it's very interesting as well because it does actually get access to Ally Switch, and you probably want to run Swords Dance and something along the lines of like Poltergeist could be a nice coverage move. Sucker Punch. Could also run Will-O-Wisp on this, but Shadow Sneak probably for sure. X-Scissor, Will-O-Wisp, Ally Switch. These are just a few to name, but yeah, this Pokemon's pretty dang spicy. You probably could try to run it. Could catch off the unsuspecting opponent, but yeah. Alright, well, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have tried any of these before, or if you're going to consider trying any of these on your teams, let me know in the comments below. Definitely consider subscribing. This channel is new, and I will be working towards posting more content, especially when Scarlet and Violet comes out. So with that being said, the Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one.